She was 64 years old, retired teacher, active her whole life, but every day by 10 a.m., she was exhausted. Not tired, exhausted. Sitting in her chair, struggling to focus. Her doctor ran every test: thyroid, blood sugar, anemia. Everything came back normal. "You're healthy," her doctor said. "Maybe just aging." She didn't accept that answer. She started tracking everything: sleep, activity, stress. Then she tracked breakfast. Day 1, oatmeal with fruit juice. Energy crashed at 10:15 a.m. Day 2, whole grain toast with orange juice. Crashed at 10:05 a.m. Day 3, skipped breakfast entirely. Crashed at 9:50 a.m. She brought her food journal to a nutritionist. The nutritionist looked at 3 days of breakfast and said, "You're making 5 mistakes that are common in adults over 60, and they're different from the mistakes younger people make. Here's why this matters at your age specifically. After 60, your body processes breakfast differently than it did at 40. Insulin sensitivity changes. Muscle protein synthesis slows. Cortisol patterns shift. The breakfast that worked at 45 actively works against you at 64. She changed 5 things, one at a time, over 3 weeks. By week 4, the 10 a.m. crash was gone. Not because she found a miracle food, because she stopped making 5 mistakes her body could no longer compensate for. Today, I'm revealing all 5 breakfast mistakes that drain energy in adults over 60, and exactly what to do instead. Before we continue, quick reminder: this is educational information only, not medical advice. Always consult your doctor before making significant changes to your diet. And if you want a free senior breakfast guide, the 5 mistake-free meal combinations optimized for adults over 60, drop the word guide in the comments below. Now, let's go through all 5 mistakes. Mistake 1, not enough protein and wrong timing. Most adults over 60 eat far less protein at breakfast than their body requires. And the ones who do eat protein often eat it too late in the meal. Here is what changes after 60. Muscle protein synthesis, your body's ability to build and maintain muscle from the protein you eat, becomes less efficient. Scientists call this anabolic resistance. At age 35, your body responds strongly to even 15 grams of breakfast protein. At age 65, research shows you need a minimum of 25 to 30 grams at breakfast to trigger the same muscle maintenance response. A 2020 study in the Journal of Nutrition followed adults aged 60 to 75. Those who consumed at least 25 grams of protein at breakfast reported significantly better sustained energy and less mid-morning fatigue than those eating standard low-protein breakfasts. The practical mistake: 1 egg, a small yogurt, or a slice of toast with peanut butter gives you 8 to 12 grams, half of what your body needs after 60. What to do instead: 2 to 3 eggs plus Greek yogurt, cottage cheese with nuts, smoked salmon with eggs. Aim for 25 to 30 grams of protein as the foundation of every breakfast. Mistake 2, fruit juice in the morning. This surprises most people. Fruit juice has been a breakfast staple for decades. Orange juice, apple juice, grapefruit juice, considered healthy by almost everyone over 60. Here is the problem. After 60, insulin sensitivity declines significantly. Your cells become less responsive to insulin signals. This means blood sugar rises higher and stays elevated longer after the same sugary foods that caused no problem at 40. A standard 8-ounce glass of orange juice contains 26 grams of sugar with almost 0 fiber. It enters your bloodstream rapidly. In a 40-year-old with strong insulin sensitivity, the spike is handled quickly. In an adult over 60, that same spike triggers a prolonged insulin response, followed by a sharper energy crash. Research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults experience significantly greater post-meal blood sugar variability from fruit juice compared to whole fruit, due to the absence of fiber-slowing absorption. The 10 a.m. crash she experienced every day? Fruit juice was a primary driver. What to do instead? Eat the whole fruit, never the juice. An orange, apple, or half a grapefruit gives you the same vitamins with fiber that controls the blood sugar response, or choose water with lemon. Same refreshing morning habit, zero sugar spike. Mistake 3, skipping breakfast or eating too late. She tried skipping breakfast entirely. Her crash came even earlier at 9:50 a.m. This is counterintuitive to many people who have heard about intermittent fasting. And intermittent fasting has real benefits. But the research on timing is different for adults over 60. Here is what happens physiologically. Cortisol, your primary morning energy hormone, peaks in adults under 50 between 8 and 9 a.m. In adults over 60, that cortisol peak arrives later and is lower in magnitude. This means older adults have a narrower window in the morning where their body is primed to convert food into usable energy efficiently. Skipping breakfast or pushing it past 9:30 a.m. means many adults over 60 spend their peak cortisol window without fuel, forcing the body to run on stress hormones alone. The result is exactly what she experienced: cognitive fog and physical fatigue before 10 a.m. A 2021 study in Nutrients found that adults over 65 who ate breakfast within 90 minutes of waking had significantly better morning cognitive performance and reported higher sustained energy compared to those who delayed or skipped. What to do instead? Eat within 60 to 90 minutes of waking. Even a small protein-rich meal is better than waiting. This is not about eating more. It is about timing what you eat to work with your body's natural morning rhythm, not against it. Mistake 4, relying on whole grains as the main energy source. Whole grain toast, oatmeal, bran cereal. These have been promoted as the ideal breakfast for decades. And for many adults under 50, they work reasonably well. After 60, the picture changes. The issue is not that whole grains are bad. The issue is that when whole grains become the primary energy source at breakfast without adequate protein and fat, the blood sugar pattern in older adults becomes problematic. Oatmeal with fruit juice, which she ate on day 1, is almost entirely carbohydrate. Even though oats are a complex carbohydrate, without protein and fat to slow absorption, blood sugar still rises rapidly in adults with reduced insulin sensitivity. Research published in Diabetes Care found that older adults who ate carbohydrate-dominant breakfasts, even from whole grain sources, experienced significantly more blood sugar variability throughout the morning than those who ate protein and fat-dominant breakfasts with smaller carbohydrate portions. What to do instead? Make protein and healthy fat the base. Add whole grains as a smaller supporting component, not the foundation. Eggs with vegetables, then a small portion of whole grain toast. Not a bowl of oatmeal with juice and a piece of fruit. Mistake 5, eating breakfast alone without healthy fat. This is the most overlooked mistake, and it affects how your body absorbs the nutrients from everything else you eat at breakfast. After 60, absorption of fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K, declines. These vitamins require dietary fat to be absorbed properly. Without fat at breakfast, a significant portion of the vitamins from your fruits and vegetables passes through without being used. Vitamin D deficiency affects over 40% of adults over 65 in the United States, according to the National Institutes of Health. One reason is not how much vitamin D people consume. It is that they consume it without the fat needed for absorption. The practical mistake: eating fruit, juice, and cereal for breakfast with no fat source. Every vitamin in that meal is partially wasted. Additionally, dietary fat at breakfast directly slows gastric emptying, the rate at which your stomach empties into the small intestine. Slower gastric emptying means more stable blood sugar, longer satiety, and sustained energy through the morning. What to do instead? Add a healthy fat to every breakfast. Half an avocado, a small handful of nuts, olive oil in your eggs, full-fat Greek yogurt instead of low-fat. These are not indulgences. At age 60 plus, they are functional nutrition. She made all 5 changes over 3 weeks. Here is what her new breakfast looked like: 2 to 3 eggs cooked in olive oil, protein plus healthy fat, half an avocado on the side, a small bowl of full-fat Greek yogurt with fresh berries, not juice, eaten within 60 minutes of waking. Total protein, approximately 30 grams. Healthy fat, present. Fiber, present from whole fruit. Carbohydrates, moderate and slowed by protein and fat. The 10 a.m. crash disappeared by week 2. By week 4, she told her nutritionist, "I feel like myself again before noon. I haven't felt this way in 2 years. Not a miracle, not a supplement. 5 specific corrections matched to how the body actually works after 60. 5 breakfast mistakes that drain energy after 60. 1. Not enough protein at breakfast. Aim for 25 to 30 grams. 2. Fruit juice. Replace with whole fruit every time. 3. Skipping breakfast or eating too late. Eat within 90 minutes of waking. 4. Whole grains as the main energy source. Make protein and fat the foundation. 5. No healthy fat. Your vitamins cannot be absorbed without it. Your breakfast does not need to be complicated. It needs to match the body you have now, not the body you had at 40. If this helped you, share it with someone over 60 who is still wondering why they crash before 10 a.m. every morning. And drop guide in the comments for the free senior breakfast combinations guide.